Hey, it's Michael from Complete Fitness, and today we're going to look at mobility of your hips. So we're really going to look at stretching out your hip flexors and glutes and hamstrings, but then we're going to look at a little bit of strengthening of the hip flexors. That's sometimes a muscle that we don't work with a lot. So we're going to start with just the absolute most basic of all hamstring stretches. We're going to go foot straight out, and you're going to be sitting straight up. All right, so a lot of the time I'll see people have that way out there and then it's out to the side. To get a good stretch on all pieces of that hamstring, there's several muscles that make up that region called the hamstrings on the back of the leg. Work at pushing that foot straight forward, so your belly button is pointed the same direction as your foot. And then it's just this lean forward. And here we're going to be able to lean in and out of it. So we're looking at a stretch and then come back out of it. So we're only going to where you feel the stretch on the back of your leg while keeping a straight back. So stretch and release. Right now, we're not needing to do this big reach forward with that. That's going to start stretching up through your back. We're trying to really look at the hip right now. So work at that stretch forward, lean your entire chest forward, and then pull back. And then we'll go ahead and switch sides on that. Again, that foot needs to be pointed in the same direction as your belly button. So your hips should be square and your foot pointed straight forward. Stretch and release. So with hamstring tightness, a lot of the time that can come from just how you're built, but a lot of the time it may be you're using your back more than you're using the mobility in your hips. So we're really looking at getting things stretched out here, and this can be a daily or 3 or 4 times a week thing that you do, especially if you're feeling some lower back pain. This can be a way to help alleviate that. Again, not the only way. This isn't a prescription for back pain, but it can be of use. All right. Now we're going to go into a glute stretch. So that's where we're going to go into this figure 4 position. All right, so one ankle over your knee and then a pull back. We're going to sit tall with this again and really think about relaxing this hip. And you can push forward on that. And big breath in and out. Each breath you may be able to get a little bit closer to your leg. Wherever you're able to pull your leg right now, that's where you're going to look to get a little bit further each time. So if this is as far as you're able to stretch, that's fine. You can set something underneath your legs so that you're able to get that propped up if you need to. But we're looking for each breath to just move a tiny bit further forward. And really think about relaxing your hip. Relax that leg so that your knee's going to be able to fall forward with that. If you stay tense, you may stay here and feel like you're getting a stretch, but really try to relax that muscle, and you're still trying to keep that completely straight back. All right, switch to the other side. And you may feel asymmetries. An asymmetry is an imbalance, so that one side may be much more flexible than the other, and there's nothing wrong with that. Our goal is going to be to get both sides to be equal. When I say there's nothing wrong with that, I mean there's nothing uncommon about that. We are looking to fix that, but it's going to be a slow process. Again, remember that you're letting that leg relax down. I have to remind myself to do that as well. And breathe through it, and that push in and out. Good. Next, we're going to move into the pigeon stretch. So what we're looking for is this front leg to be going directly across your body. So not tucked back this way, to really get it pushed forward, and you're dropping this hip down. So you want your body to be over your shin. You're going to get a little more stretch out of this the further you push your leg in or pull your body out. So the closer you get your knee to midline or directly under your sternum, that's where you're going to feel a lot more stretch back in the glute. And relax through that. We're also going to be feeling a stretch in your hip flexor here. Breathe through it. We're taking deep breaths. So that's that diaphragmatic breath, meaning pulling your diaphragm down. So like that belly breath. And we'll hold that for a few seconds. And switch out of it. We're going to that other side. And start where you need to start. You might be up here and just pushing hips back. And if that's where you're starting, that's perfectly fine. But we're looking for a nice stretch on the outside of your hip, through your glute, and then on this opposite side on the front of your hip, on your hip flexor. And breathe through that movement. All right, hold it for a couple more seconds, and then we'll go ahead and come out of that position. Next, we're going to take either some shoes. They seem to work best since you normally have them with you. But you can use anything else that's around you, just that's going to be not too tall. It can be some canned goods, it can be a book, whatever it needs to be. But what we're going to do is go straight legs, and we're going to go between your shoes. All right, we're going to look for your shoes to be out there at about your ankles. All right, and the beginner position for this is leaned back on your arms and keeping straight leg, lift up, out, and down. Up, out, and down. And you'll reverse. So this is a 3-part move, so don't just hop over your shoes and back. We're looking at up, out, down. Up, out, down. And control it. The next progression to this is going to be sitting straight up, so without your hands behind you. And we're also not going to look for a rounded back. You're sitting up as tall as you can, and same thing with straight legs. It's going to be that up, over, down. Up, over, down. Up, over, down. Up, over, down. And the higher you get something to go over, the harder it becomes. So your hip flexors are right here. Your hip flexors are shortened. So this is a muscle called your psoas, or iliacus. They come together to make the iliopsoas, and those muscles are two of the muscles that work to pull your knee towards your chest or to have any type of a forward motion swing here. So that's these muscles right here that we're working. So the more shortened those get, the harder it is for them to work. So let's say we had something much higher, we needed to get up and over, that's going to be working that muscle a whole lot more. So go as high as you need to make it a challenge. And we'll finish by going into this cobra stretch. All right, so we're going to be stretched all the way back. And here you're letting your abs relax. You're letting your hip flexors relax. Feet are pointed out behind you. Now, if this part hurts for any reason, that's where you're going to go down to elbows. So you can start at elbows, and if you're not feeling a stretch there, that's where you can then press up slowly and really work at that relaxing. So if you're feeling any pinch in your lower back, that's where you should go a little lower on this. In order to go a little lower, so if this is no stretch and this is too much, this is where you can walk your hands out a little bit more. I would never want you doing this if you're doing a push-up, but while you're doing this stretch, it's going to be perfectly fine. Just to get a nice stretch through your abs. A little stretch on the hip flexors. And go ahead and set it down. All right, hopefully this has helped you stretch your hips out a little bit. Stay tuned for some more tips on exercising, on stretching, on correcting mobility patterns. And yeah, we hope to see you in the gym again very soon when all of this is over.